Hello everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. Hope you're having a great day. And as we come out of this winter time, get into spring, it's time that the USDA and farmers start evaluating, how much moisture did they get during the winter? How did the winter wheat get planted? How's it doing? How are other crops going in? And so I want to do a quick video on the information we have so far, basically concentrating on the winter wheat and how the drought's going in the Midwest part of the country. And thanks to everybody out there that likes, shares, and comments on the video, and also subscribes to the channel. And bottom line up front, like the military always taught us when we're giving a talk to people, it's not looking good. The reports right now coming into spring out of winter, they're not looking that good. As you can see here, this article talks about the wheat spread, the spread in price between hard red winter wheat and white. I'm not worried about the spread in money, but it all relates back to the fact there's a drought causing the spread, causing the difference in the pricing. Basically, as you see here, it says that the spread is blown out due to a record high spread as the drought threatens crop yields across the Midwest and other major farming regions. One of them being Kansas, and we're going to get into that in a minute. We're going to dig a little deeper into Kansas because it is the largest wheat producing state in the United States. It says here the latest report from the USDA found that Kansas, the top producer, kind of like I just said here, had only 19% of the acreage in good or excellent condition. That is obviously not good. It says also a deterioration of the crop rating is also visible in Texas and Colorado. Simultaneously, drought conditions plague the Canadian prairies. So not only the Midwest here, but up in Canada where they grow a lot of canola for canola oil, rapeseed. They do that, and they do a lot of wheat up there. That's also hurting as well. And it says here that they need, the Canadian prairies, they need adequate moisture to plant wheat and canola crops, or this might lead to poor crop yields later in the growing season, which could impact global supplies. The key there is the global supplies. And then it says there's already droughts in Argentina that have reduced crop yields there. And of course, there's war-torn Ukraine has forced farmers to reduce their plantings in there because there's all kinds of craters in their fields from the war, as you can imagine. Now, this at the end of the article is very important. Last sentence, almost the most important sentence in this whole story. How to hedge a higher cost at the supermarket? Plant a garden. Very simple. We're going to get back to that, but yes, plant a garden. I know you're not planting wheat and making your own, flour out there, but there's things we can do, and planting a garden helps relieve other stuff. But let's dig into Kansas really quick before we get into that. So this is from, you can see here, Successful Farming, great place to go for farming news. It says less than 20% of Kansas winter wheat is in good or excellent condition. Like we said before, it's 19%. Western Kansas, that's obviously this dark red portion here, which is almost half the state. So western Kansas continues to be plagued by intense drought conditions. Only 15% of Kansas acres are experiencing no drought stress, and that's the white portion here. So only this part here has got some moisture this winter and got out of the drought. The rest of the state basically is in some type of drought. Not very good. It says here, just over 36% of the state reported D4, exceptional drought compared to just a little over 1% a year ago. Remember last year we were talking about how bad it was, the drought with the wheat, how it led to poor yields, how it led to poor stocks in wheat, higher prices as well. We are way behind already this year. It was 1% last year. It's 36% in drought already this year. If the rains don't come in, who knows what the yields will be, but they're not going to be good. Once again, the drought map here, nothing new there. They did say, though, that corn and soybean operations, which reside mostly in the northeast section over here, are outside the worst drought areas. So, good news, the corn and soybean in Kansas won't be affected as much. And then let's get a wrap up here. Winter wheat condition in the state rated 25% very poor, 25% poor. So do some math here. 50% of the wheat is poor or very poor. Half the crop is poor right now. 31% fair, 17% good, and 2% excellent. This is a decline from the report of last year. As I always told you in the past, USDA likes to fudge the numbers to keep the markets happy, so it's probably worse than this even. It's probably a lot worse than 50% of the crop already in poor or very poor condition. And then lastly here, we'll look at this little chart here. What do you want to call this? This is the state of Kansas again. And this is the percent of normal average they've gotten so far this winter. The dark red is 26% of normal, 35. You can see they've hardly gotten any moisture this winter. Up here, like I said, where they actually have had gotten some moisture, 138% of normal, 141. So that part of the state's doing great, but most of the state not doing so well. So going back to what it said earlier in the first article where it said, how do you hedge against this from higher prices in the supermarket? Plant a garden. Yes, it's springtime now, everybody. Get out there. Most places in the United States, you can start getting to work in that ground at least. If not, you can grow your seedlings inside under a lamp or a light or in a greenhouse, or get them from a nursery and start hardening them up at home, getting them ready to go into the ground. Even if it's just a little, one or two, you got yourself a tomato plant, a zucchini plant, and a pepper. You're helping because you're putting less pressure on the entire system. I know we talked about the wheat here and how that's not going good. Well, yes, wheat products are used in a lot of things, and you're not growing your own wheat, but what can you do for the wheat shortage? You can stockpile flour now. I've done videos on it prior in the past about 10-pound, 5-pound bags in flour bags, put into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, store quite well. They store for a long time. You can do that. If you want to go even more long-term storage, get the wheat berries. Go to a farm co-op. Get online to some place that sells. I get the organic ones because I don't like the pesticides in them, especially for long-term storage. But if you can't afford it, get whatever you can. Get wheat berries, whether it be the white, the hard red, whatever you want. Get the wheat berries. Store them long-term in Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, 5-gallon buckets. And then if you run out of wheat, you need flour. They can't get flour. It's too expensive. Break those out. You got to make sure you have yourself a mill, either a hand mill, electric mill. But if you get an electric mill, make sure there's a way to manually operate it as well if power goes out, or you have backup power. And then grind your own wheat if you have to. That stuff will store 20, 30 years if done correctly. So that's how you get rid of the wheat problem. But the other thing is, like I said, you've got that, you can handle that, but grow a garden, grow some stuff. If you want the highest producing things, just a little quick tip here: tomatoes and zucchini. A couple of zucchini plants planted, fertilized, watered, and taken care of will produce more zucchini probably than you'll know what to do with. It's great for calories, building a calorie building vegetable. So zucchini's easy to grow and it makes a ton. Tomatoes also very forgiving, easier to grow, as long as they don't get a lot of mildew in damp, humid areas. Got to keep the fungus off them. But you do all that. Tomatoes are prolific, and canning tomatoes is great for making sauce. You can can them whole. You can peel the skins and then can them. You can crush them and then can them as a sauce, make them a sauce. Tomatoes are one of the most versatile crops that you can grow. So if you only had to focus on two, that's the two I would pick. If you have suggestions in the comments, what were like one or two of the vegetables you would suggest people to grow that are easy and produce a lot of food for people? Put them down below. I know one of them probably is also potatoes. That's probably a third one out there. If you're in an area, you can grow potatoes. This year, I'm trying to grow them in canvas bags. I'll give you an update. I just planted them recently, how they're going. I'll take some photos and post them, or a little quick video. But potatoes, great source of carbs, a lot of calories. And I'm doing it in just canvas bags above ground this time. I also have some doing a no-dig method. But potatoes are easy to grow, and they're pretty hard not to mess them up. Very forgiving on how you grow potatoes as well. So if you have other suggestions below, put them down there for people. But keep on stocking that food, stack that wheat, stack those wheat berries, and get that garden going. Get those seeds in the ground, get those plants in the ground, and then just enjoy being out in the sun, taking care of them. Working outside is great for your mental well-being, your health, your emotions, your happiness. It's great being outside. Get out there and enjoy it. Until next time, keep your ear to the ground, head on a swivel.